Okay, this is going to be a quick video of how to fit a door lock latch. Okay, so this is just a standard latch that I'll be using, and in this video I will show you the process of how I fit it. Okay, so the tools you're going to need are a set of chisels. I normally use 25mm or 20mm, a hammer, a 20mm and 25mm flat bit. I'm using a router, but you don't really need a router if you've got chisels, so you don't really need that. It just makes life a bit easier. A combination drill. I'm also using another combination drill, one for piloting and one for drilling out the lock. And I've also got an impact driver to drive the screws in, but you don't need these two if you have a combination drill. So you need a hammer and a square, and you'll also need a Stanley knife to get a clean, nice cut out on the latch. Okay, so first what I do is I measure up 1 meter high from the bottom of the door and make a mark for the latch position. This is a comfortable height for the latch. It should be anywhere in between 900 and 1100 millimeters high. This is a perfect hip height for most people. Once I've got the height of the door, what I need to do is get the center point of the door. I do this with a combination square. Measure the thickness of the door, and then I set the combination square to half of the mark. And this will find me my center point. To check if you've got the 100% center of the door, what you do is you mark both sides of the door and it should line up perfectly. Now you've got the center of the door, what you do is you just make a mark on the 1 meter high line that you've previously done. Now you have the two marks, you can start drilling out for your latch. I use a 25mm flat bit, but on some latches you can use the 22mm. Here I'm just making sure my mark is in the right place, because it's always best to check that you've got the right measurements. When you're ready to start drilling out for the latch, just put your flat bit on where the two marks meet up and start drilling out. Ensure that you're going straight and level with the drill. Always make sure you're coming parallel with the door and not coming at an angle. Once the hole is drilled out, I check that the latch fits in comfortably. I then screw the latch to the door so I can make my mark. Always ensure that the knuckle of the latch is facing towards the door frame. You can use your combination square to make sure that your latch is 100% level. It should be the same measurement, top and bottom, on both sides. Once you've got the latch level, get your Stanley knife and mark around your latch. Once you have made a mark, simply take out your screws and you should see the mark made from the Stanley blade. Once you've made the mark, just get your chisels. Here I'm using a 20mm chisel, and just put in the edge of my chisel in line with the Stanley blade and then just notching it out. You can also use a router at this point. So here I'm just following the Stanley blade mark made and just knocking it in with my chisel. Be very careful when doing the sides to ensure you don't split the door. Be very gentle and don't knock it too hard when doing the sides. Once you've marked all sides in, take out the top and the bottom of the pocket. You can either use a router or a chisel to chop it out. Once it's been chopped out, use the face of the latch to ensure that it fits. Once you know that the latch face fits, line up the face with the door in line with the chop out and make a mark in the spindle hole. You can make a mark with a small drill bit. Once I've made the marks, I use a 20mm flat bit and drill out for the bar to go into the spindle. Once the two holes are made, you can just put the latch in the hole and screw it up. If the latch isn't sitting right, you can always chop out a little bit more with the standing knife. While it's in, just make a mark with the standing knife to chop out any excess. Once the latch is in and fits perfectly, it's time to move on to the handles. With these type of handles, they provide through bolts, so that's what we're going to use today. There are many ways to get the position of the through bolts. You can measure a mark, use the template provided, or you can do what I'm doing here, and that's getting the handle in position and drilling a hole through. So what I'm doing here is getting the handle in position and drilling a hole to create a mark for the through bolts. I only do this on the two sides so it can go through the latch. Once I've gotten the marks, I then drill out with a 10mm drill bit. The drill bit size may vary on the type of handles you have. Once the holes have been drilled out on both sides, you just put the handles on and put the through bolts through the holes. And then screw them up with a required screwdriver. I always use a hand screwdriver for this process because I found the screws to not be that good and they get rounded very easily. So it's always best to use a hand screwdriver. Once the bolts are on and tight, you just put the faceplate on and then screw it up or push it on, depending on what type they are. Now that the handles and latch are completed, it's time to do the keep. Because this is a new frame, what I can do is draw on the latch so that the latch is covered in the pencil lead. I then open and close the door so that the latch kind of acts like a pencil and makes a mark on the door frame. And here's the mark. I then get my keep and line it up with the edge of the mark made by the latch. Once I've got it lined up, I just mark inside the box. With this latch and keep set, it comes with a back box. So to put the back box in, I just line it up with the mark I've made, bringing it a bit forward to allow for the lipping on the box, and then I just mark around the box. I already know the general latch location where it's going to fall, but if you haven't already, then it's always best to mark around the latch and make sure that your latch will actually go into the box. Once you've marked out and you're 100% happy with your markings, all you need to do is chop out for the box. Here I'm using a 20mm flat bit, going inside the lines and doing the top and bottom. I then use my 20mm chisel and chop out the rest, still being inside the lines. Once you've chopped out for the box, test the box and see if it fits. Then after, put the latch in and screw it in place. Once you've screwed the keep in and it's in the correct position, just repeat the process you done on the latch and mark out with a Stanley blade around the keep. Once you've marked around the keep with a Stanley blade, take out the screws and then you can chop out a recess for the keep. Once you have recessed for the keep, make sure it fits and screw it back in. And that is a full guide on how to fit a latch and a keep. If you enjoyed the video or it helped you out in any way, please drop a like, and if you have the chance and like to see this type of content, please subscribe. It helps out a lot. Thank you for watching. There is one thing that I didn't add to the video, and that is to tighten up the grub screws. Each handle has one grub screw, you just need to tighten up with the Allen key. The Allen key is normally provided with the handle. Tightening up the grub screws just adds a bit more strength to the handle.